Right, so writing with right feels more right, but writing with right is not nearly as fun as writing with left, right? So as most people, I am in possession of two hands, one of which is my dominant hand, and for me that is my right hand. This means that I write with my right hand. I write with my right hand, yes. I have been writing with my right hand ever since I started learning how to draw and write as a little girl. And yeah, my drawing skills have unfortunately never really improved since then. Even though at this point, after about 20 years of training, writing with this hand is quite comfortable for me, it has also become a little too comfortable. I now take it for granted and I am fully dependent on my right hand when it comes to writing. Although I also very often use my laptop for writing, actually writing with pen and paper is still something that I do daily. What if one day I can't use my right hand anymore? I mean, it could just happen, especially now that I'm also learning how to skate, and well, I'm not very good at it yet. It is exactly for this reason that I had developed the wish to be able to write with something other than my right hand as well. I considered some different options. Apart from my left hand, I also considered my foot, my mouth. I even considered my nose for a second, but I just couldn't bring myself to try that. Eventually, I went with the most obvious one, my left hand. And thus begins my immersion into the arduous and time-consuming process of learning how to write all over again. I dedicated myself to writing with my left hand for 20 days, writing for 30 minutes to up to 2 hours every day. My goal these 20 days wasn't necessarily to be able to write in the exact same way with my left hand as my right hand, but to be able to write a lot more legible than on day one, and also more comfortable, since on the first few days it felt so unnatural to hold my pen with my left hand, and all I wanted to do was switch to my right hand. And finally, I also wanted to be able to write a lot quicker on day 20 because, well, see for yourself. The first 5 days I copied Wikipedia articles about plants, but that got boring quickly, so then I transcribed a news article, some songs, and from day 9 to 20, the book The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, available to read for free on the website of the Gutenberg Project. Because the first few days of the process felt so uncomfortable and excruciatingly slow, I started to wonder, why is it that I'm right-handed? Why do I not only write with right, but also cut my nails, brush my teeth, and text with my right hand? And why is it almost impossible to write with left? Did I just pick up a pen one day and started doing everything with my right hand from that point onwards? Or is it genetics, and is my handedness actually determined by my DNA? And why does my husband write with his left hand but does pretty much everything else with his right? Is he a lefty but culturally conditioned to use his right hand for a lot of things? We live, after all, in a world where right-handedness is much more common than left-handedness. Only about 10% of the world population is left-handed. I'll try to answer some of these questions, while in the meantime you can enjoy the time-lapse of day 1 through 20. Unfortunately, however, there aren't a lot of answers. Scientists are still not really sure what causes a person to be left-handed, and they haven't found a specific gene that determines handedness. However, what most scientists seem to accept is that handedness is linked to the asymmetry of our brains. This means that the right side of the brain controls different things than the left side. While the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. For most people, the left side of the brain also controls language and speech. It is likely that this is the case for right-handed people, since the left side of the brain controls the right hand. In other words, the left side of the brain that controls language is also in charge of telling the right hand how to write. This is supported by studies that found that left-handed people tend to process language not only in the left side of the brain, but in both sides, or sometimes even completely on the right side. As for the strange case of my husband, he is probably cross-handed. Cross-handed people tend to vary with their hand dominance based on the task. Apart from left, right, and cross-handed people, there is also a very small number of people that are ambidextrous, meaning they don't prefer one hand over the other, but can use both hands equally well. In the meantime, I have written for 11 days, and you can already see that my writing has improved since day 1, although certain letters still structurally look worse than others. In order to improve individual letters, I wrote down the letters of the alphabet and noted which letters I had most trouble with, and practiced those letters individually, which helped a lot with the legibility of my handwriting. I noticed that especially letters with a lot of curves were difficult for me, such as M, O, and S. Still practicing daily, I felt that I improved little by little, and it also started to feel less unnatural over time. However, what I still struggled with was my grip. The way that I had been holding the pen always left me with blue stains on my left hand. So I experimented with different ways of holding the pen and settled on this one, where my hand is practically under the words I'm writing, and the paper is slightly tilted towards my right side. I did not smudge as much, but I had to adapt to this new way of holding the pen and paper, and it deteriorated my handwriting for a while, but eventually I got used to that as well. As you can see, we're nearing the end of the 20 days, and it's already looking a lot better than in the beginning. I mean, my left handwriting now still doesn't look much better than my right handwriting from when I was about 10 years old, but if you consider that I only practiced for 20 days, I'd say it's not too bad. On day 20, I started by doing my regular portion of writing from Dorian Gray, and after I finished that, I thought it would be fun to write the same thing that I had written on day 1, to be able to get a good comparison of my improvement over the 20 days. So once more I wrote about the Monstera deliciosa, also known as the Swiss cheese plant. I'm actually quite surprised that my left handwriting has improved the way it did in such a relative short amount of time. Of course, if I compare it to my right handwriting, I don't write as comfortable or as fast with left as I do with right. But if I compare it to my left hand from day 1, so much has improved. Whereas it felt very unnatural to write with left on the first few days, it now feels much more comfortable. On top of that, my letters are more consistent, and it's a lot more legible. Even though I still write pretty slowly now, I do write a lot quicker than on day 1. Overall, it was a very fun experience, especially because you can see improvement every day. Is it time-consuming? Yes. Is it unlikely that it will ever come in handy? Probably yes. Will I still show off my skill to everyone I see? Definitely yes. I hope to continue to practice writing with left so that I eventually reach the same level of writing that I have with my right hand. Let me know if you are able to write with your non-dominant hand or if you would like to learn. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.